pressure's really going to be getting to them here. It's happened again. It's the second season in a row that they're in the 0-2 round. And this time, I think they've got tougher competition. That was APAC's first LAN back then, first international LAN. G2 were able to take them down and start their attempt to regain through the fall major last season. And this season, I think everybody would agree, James Cheese have looked more competitive than APAC were at the start of last season. So G2, if they've regained here, if they're showing up today with their A game, yeah, I think they're going to win this.
They've got tournament winners on their team of James Cheese and Cammy, and they have got regional deep runners in the form of Realized and Virtuoso as well. So there is a wealth of experience in the late game in tournaments, but of course it's different when you're on the world stage. You are against a wounded animal in G2, but surely so much better than what we saw from them yesterday.
Yeah, you'd think so. We thought the regain would begin yesterday. Well, it has to begin today. They have no more chances. I mean, based on what you mentioned on the desk, they're playing with house money now. I disagree. I think you mentioned it yourself that no, they're trying to recoup their losses here. They need to win 3 straight if they're going to make it out of Swiss, and that's, I think, the bare minimum that G2 would expect coming into an event like this as the runners-up of the World Championship, winter majors last season. Both teams had some reasonable opportunities early on. G2's pace has been there. They've been the faster team up until now. That's not something I could say in their matchup against Power yesterday.
James Cheese are getting better as this tournament progresses, though. They got no goals against Carmine Corp as Jane has to try something into the center. Against Falcons, they got themselves a couple of goals in the latter 2 games in that match. So that's improvement. That's all you can do. But
there you go.
All you can really do is try and defend that, and it can't be done for now. Atomic opens the scoring.
Yeah, great mind game by Chicago on the back wall there. Virtuoso thought Chicago was going to flip into that early. Instead, he just delays it, drops it down into an unmissable position. G2 do lead 1-0. Now, James Cheese, like you mentioned, they've kept the last 3 games they played against Falcons very close, 1-goal games. But they did concede early in every game they played. It seemed like they just didn't start with the discipline you need at this top level. Now that they're down by 1, I think they're actually likely to kick it into a bit higher gear. But I think G2 have got many more to go to as well. It's such a nightmare matchup for them. We keep wondering when are APAC going to run into another newer region team in one of these rounds. Nope, it's G2 2 years in a row.
James Cheese are playing proactively from the back, though. They're meeting G2 in the air, showing some good speed. They're not letting them have it all their own way so far. Obviously, it's not led to any goals, and G2 did manage to break through James Cheese at that little moment of magic, the fake on the back wall. But other than that, I'd say James Cheese have been going toe-to-toe. They're looking adequate at facing off against G2 right now. That can, of course, change, and G2 are having all too much pressure in the James Cheese half for their liking. Here is Chicago. Clean touch from him in a second one. The Virtuoso on the backboard. And defensively, I'd say, apart from that moment where there was the fake, James Cheese looking okay.
Yeah, they've had effective clears this entire tournament. They are able to get the ball out of defense. They don't often get stuck here. That's not really been one of their weaknesses. I think they've had reasonable pressure. They've been reasonable in the possession department as well, and all the matchups we've seen from them. Their main problem has been the finishing touch. You know, when they create opportunities, I think they almost surprise themselves and think, wait, we did that. We got an opportunity to score on a world-class team. They're just not quite ready for it. You need to be at this level. You need to be there, preemptively almost, for an infield pass. Realize had half a chance there. He's decided to leave that, and it's great comms there by James Cheese. Cammy called Realize off that. Realize immediately flips back onto the wall to give Cammy the touch. Look at this passing play. Virtuoso completely starved on boost there. If he had just maybe 20 to play with, then he's got a shot on net. They're still knocking on the door of G2.
And some effective bumps as well from James Cheese. A pass comes in again. Atomic intercepts. It's good there from them, though, from James Cheese. The APAC team, the best APAC team that the region has ever had. 3 worldwide players coming together to elevate that region. I'm sure as the season goes on, everybody there will be improved from playing against a team of this quality week in, week out. Talk of quality, talk of that pinch. Atomic, wow. I mean, that was a great read. The ball had an incredible amount of pace on it. And somehow he managed to get up and put it in time and take a nice touch as well. That is the difference to what James Cheese are used to playing against, and that's the difference as well when Chicago pre-flips like that.
Well, G2 really have. They started off with such a high level today compared to both of the series we saw from them yesterday. The Oxygen series was a close one between G2 and themselves, but G2 were not clean at all in any of the games. They were, I mean, that series as a whole was a mess from both teams. And G2 against Power were nowhere to be seen, but like you mentioned, unreal save from Atomic. I think out of everything we've seen so far, hold that thought. There it is again, the finishing touch lacking from James Cheese. I was going to say that. I think that defensive play from Atomic will give G2 fans a lot of hope about the result of this match. Those are the mistakes we're seeing from them yesterday. Very uncharacteristic mistakes, not mistakes we've seen from them today.
Atomic tends to be the barometer for how G2 are playing. Another chance though for James Cheese. They are breaking through this G2 defense. Another one for Realize is saved, this time by JNaps. G2 having to play fast in the back half of the pitch. Realize keeps the pressure on. James Cheese attacking all the way into the end. Cammy, another clean touch. They are getting these hits, Johnny.
Yeah.
They just can't quite put it away.
They outshot Carmine Corp 9 shots to 4 in their first match of the entire tournament. James Cheese can create chances. They've been creating chances against everyone they played against. They've done it against G2 here. It's taken them, that's the problem. I mean, how many chances there do we see hit the post, hit the bar, going to a goalkeeper's reach? It's just not quite good enough from James Cheese. They haven't been able to provide clinical finishing, the likes of which G2 have every tournament we watch them play. 3-0 is a fair scoreline. The difference is quite simple. G2 are there to take their chances, and James Cheese are just not.
Devastating finishes there from G2. They had 5 shots overall in that entire game between them all and scored 3 of them. 60% success rate in their shooting. Very impressive and a professional performance from G2. For those fans who are hoping that 1-0 beat James Cheese, that is the assumption here.
Yeah.
Right, but 2, they have to build on that. They still have a reverse sweep of Swiss series to have just to make it into the playoffs. I think they're getting their fundamentals correct at the start is exactly what they need at the beginning.
Yeah, it's an ideal game for G2. They've just got to try and limit mistakes in a matchup like this. They know that. They know that they've just got to try and play as consistently as possible and let their experience do the talking, let their mechanics do the talking. This save by Atomic was really quite spectacular, and that led to the second goal as well. The third was a nice little cherry on top, but at that point the game was all over. But if you look at the stats, more shots for James Cheese. This is not the first time that they've done this in the event. They do create chances, but as we could see from that game, G2 weren't all that troubled by any of them because there's always someone else there. There's always a last-ditch save. There's always the crossbar of the post to the rescue. James Cheese have to up the accuracy. They've got to up the confidence with their shots.
The man that we just saw on our camera virtuoso, he was famed once upon a time in Europe for going for demos. He was beyond the demo meta you see today. You think of Com going for demos, you think of Arsenal.
Yeah.
Virtuoso did it way more. This guy was something a little bit different. He tweeted out when searching for an EU team a year or so ago now that he was changing his game style. He was no longer a quote-unquote demo merchant. He needs a little bit of that back because actually against G2, he was going for some bumps and it did manage to shake them a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's something that he can bring into his game as and when it's needed for James Cheese.
And you know, I honestly think G2 have looked pretty susceptible to that. Oh, Atomic just saved his own teammate's shot there, and it will not lead to a goal. Now, it's not a terrible play there from Atomic to make that save because it looked like the goalkeeper might have it covered, but obviously he's trying to redirect it into the net, not redirect it into the crossbar. So, mistake with the execution. The idea, however, although it might be a bit of a controversial one, I don't think it was a terrible one.
It's the first time in this series that James Cheese have got away with anything. Up to now, whenever G2 have come forward and had a real opportunity, they've taken it with bullet-like accuracy. That maybe will just remind James Cheese that G2 are human too, and maybe give him a bit of a shot in the arm. But G2 are going to come forward again. Chicago is just waiting for Atomic's touch. JNaps is the one that it falls to, and they don't give them opportunities twice. This is G2's lead.
Yeah, Atomic just guiding the ball into the corner, showing a very effective way to center the ball, just popping it straight into that diagonal wall. Look how quickly the ball gets into the middle. It's a very easy angle for the striker to shoot at, running away from the defense the entire time. 1-0 G2, they continue to be the more clinical of the two teams, despite the slight mishap from Atomic earlier on.
It is the difference between the two of them, how accurate G2 have been. I'm sure they'll continue to put some more shots on now. They're starting to warm up, get used to these land seats again. Chicago can't quite put that one on net. They're forced to Realize a really quick pass into the center. Virtuoso's shot is saved.
I like that he's really sent that one as fast as he could towards the goal. They've lacked power in a lot of their shots. They've lacked conviction with their finishing. But he definitely didn't on that occasion. Just sent it flying towards the top corner. If G2 save it, so be it. At least you've tested the keeper.
Chicago is trying to sneak in, and Chicago is sneaking in, and it's 2-0. That looks so simple for G2 as soon as Chicago got the ball. He just sent that one forwards, realized, didn't quite get the read either. Maybe he wouldn't have been able to get there in time, even if he had. Chicago isn't going to miss that one. So it's a patience game for G2, and it's working well for them.
Yeah, they're just waiting for the openings, and that one came off the back of an attempted back pass. Cammy trying to hold on to the possession. James Cheese have pretty well this event. And G2, known for their interceptions, they are really on the ball today. This is far better than the G2 that we saw yesterday. If they can keep this up, I don't know if James Cheese have got that level in them. I don't know if they've got the ability to perform in a threatening way against a G2 like this. They need G2 to slow down a little bit, start producing the level that they had for much of yesterday.
Maybe a goal for James Cheese could just start to swing things back to G2. It seems unlikely at the moment as JNaps is going forwards again. No space at the inn on this occasion. Chicago will keep it there, and we are struggling to see orange territory at the moment. Even when we do have a bit of a clearance back, it's just a G2 player that gets that ball in, has it stick to their car so well. Virtuoso does have Realize. Realize is capable of scoring these ones, but can't quite connect there. Didn't have the pace on the ball, and G2 can come again.
Yeah, I think the shot from that range is a bit a speculative effort from Realize. I know he's capable of catching those kind of plays into air dribbles, just like this. Reset for Realize, wants for the bump as well, and Virtuoso's there to follow up. And look at the clock, plenty time for James Cheese to work with. Massive play from Realize. Atomic's scared to fly into this one because Realize is actually flying in front of the ball. Virtuoso trusts him, buries it in the top corner.
Perfect supporting play from Realize, a reminder of what he is capable of, why he was wanted to be joined by Cami and Virtuoso. Two such experienced players. Might double down here, Realize, sorry, shoots. It's saved by JNaps, but there is some pressure still for James Cheese. Has to make something of this. Cami's getting a chunk of the G2 defense on his way out. Another shot is just about saved by G2. Maybe if we had to critique, we'd say these shots are a bit central, but the shots are starting to rain down from James Cheese.
Yeah, just a bit too close to the G2 goalies. It's when they can get that goal from point-blank range, that shot from point-blank range. And it might cause problems like this one might. That's well dealt with by Chicago, just lofting it into a position that's not the easiest for the third man of James Cheese to confidently move in on. They are more than competitive in this match. The G2 that have improved since yesterday still. James Cheese, they look like they've got a chance. They look like they can take games. I think saying that they can take a series is still a bit of a stretch, but game by game, you never know.
I'll tell you what, all hell could break loose if James Cheese do manage to get this second goal in the next minute or so. Some of the pendulum will have an almighty swing. Cheese are capable of stopping it right now, though. That's all it needs. One chance. JNaps again, deadly.
Oh, that's a fantastic read by JNaps. I think James Cheese were probably looking at Atomic in that position thinking, is he going to go for this? Is he going to jump up early? JNaps with an uncontested shot, showing the legendary striker status once again.
Just keeping James Cheese at arm's length for G2 right now. Back to the two-goal cushion. It could be about to be halved yet again. Virtuoso can't quite get the challenge, but Cami sneaks it in, and we are back to one.
Well, look at the kickoff plays from James Cheese. Intentionally losing it towards Virtuoso, who air dribbles it and completely denies the clear that G2 attempted in that play. Just cushioned the blow. Cami slams it in the top corner. It's been about the quick follow-ups for James Cheese. Both of their goals have been when their second man is right behind the first man, giving G2 no time to react.
Both from air dribbles as well, but the risk of that, if they start to believe it too much, is they can be met in the air. G2 are realizing what James Cheese are trying. Shown a good professionalism to close it down, reminding us of their own speed. Atomic to the ceiling, Atomic to the backboard. Chicago puts it away, and again, the two-goal lead is restored for G2.
And James Cheese tried to make the same fake kickoff, or same losing kickoff strategy work again, but G2 were all over them. Massive free jump, sets up immense pressure, and Atomic knew that even if he misses that one off the bar, he's got another player behind him to put it in. James Cheese will switch up this kickoff strat. They don't want to play the same one 3 times in a row. And I'll tell you what, that's a pretty good outcome.
This is ridiculous. That's 3-4 goals in the last 30 seconds or so. They just keep on coming. James Cheese refusing to be beaten.
Oh, Chicago
was chasing, yeah, he was chasing a bump or a demo.
I don't think he realized the shot was coming in that quickly. He thought someone else could cover the goal. He was the only player in the area. He could have saved that, but he went for boost.
Well, all that's come before leads us to this. 1 goal needed to force an overtime for James Cheese. Realize he's going to send this one out wide. It's met by Cami, it's met fast by him as well. Chicago is back in time. Virtuoso is closing him down. Buzzing around that half. Cami is just a little bit behind in the pass and Realize the ideas are correct yet again from James Cheese. Not quite the execution they need. Atomic does some good work. Clears it so long. Buys some time for G2. Realize has to beat JNaps, isn't able to. Virtuoso maybe trying to force one more chance of the flick. It's over, it's killed, it's dead, it's 2-0 G2. But what a fight that was towards the end of the game.
Yeah, massive improvement from James Cheese. They're just fully committing with their offense. You know, that does leave them more open to G2 counterattacks, which I think is likely to cause them to concede more goals if they continue to play this style for the rest of the series. But this is, I think, the best chance they've got. This is the way that they can get G2 into uncomfortable positions, that they can create real goal-scoring opportunities. That's the first time that I've seen a really good comeback attempt from James Cheese. They had 2 3-2 losses to Falcons yesterday, but before the comeback started, they were down 3-0 both times. So they, you know, maybe relied on Falcons just dropping their, or taking their foot off the pedal a little bit. You know, this one, coming back from 2 down multiple times, keeping it very close. G2, they scored some great goals. You know, they were forced to play well here. I think the G2 we saw yesterday, I don't think it's even a stretch to say that the James Cheese in Game 2 would probably have beaten them if G2 showed up with yesterday's form. So full credit to G2. They have, you know, gone to bed. They've woken up on the right side this time, and they're showing up with a much better game plan, much better execution on the last chance that they got. No more losses allowed. No more losses have been had.
JNaps and the G2 gang trying to set up a very long couple of days of Rocket League, leading to that quarterfinals to finals Sunday as well. So they're aware they have a long road in front of them, G2. First, they have to take this first step to take down James Cheese, an opponent who, at times certainly, are looking pretty dangerous. Not easy, it's never going to be simple for G2, especially with Virtuoso in the sky, hitting that backboard. Atomic sending it out wide, but another good start for James Cheese. Look how much pressure they're getting straight from the kickoff, Johnny.
Yeah, I think they've decided to just completely go for it here. Enough of this nice guy rotations. Let's just try and put pressure on G2. If, you know, if they win, if they counterattack us, well, they're winning anyway. We might as well try and go out on our shield, go out fighting. Oof. They've got the mechanics to do this. I think they've got the individual skill to do this. Great recovery by Realize. He's past 2 here. 50's it past the 3rd, and the mind game was there. Unfortunately, no finishing touch.
Great comms from G2 to get it to this point with JNaps, who doesn't aim for the shot, instead puts it into the center. He had a teammate that was very fast arriving. I mean, tees it up for himself, actually, so good decision-making from James Cheese as well. Both teams trying to mix up their approach. No one's trying to be one-dimensional. Maybe James Cheese realizing in the last one they were a tad one-dimensional with these air dribbles being followed up. Quicker passes, more 1-2, more interplay from them. We remain at 0-0, and while we're there, James Cheese are another chance.
Well, it's not a great touch. Bart had to rush back to that one. He did well, spacing the ball. That's something that I've been impressed with from James Cheese when they're last back. They play the positions very well, but they are very much struggling to get the ball clear at the moment. G2 circling around, intercepting early. This is forcing the boost totals from James Cheese players to run very dry. They're really being tested at the moment with their boost management. That's a nice knock on by Kami. G2 deciding to just leave the ball in the corner there. They're not too worried about leaving the ball in a position like that. They're inviting James Cheese in to an overextension. Look at James Cheese spreading out left and right. They're covering the interception angles at the other side of the field, just like G2 often do.
Patient play from James Cheese this time, but G2 are going to break free. Maybe all it takes again is one chance. But no, not this time. They're a little bit too far back. Kami was able to see the ball away. Realizes in a race with JNaps. We'll call that one a tie because it gets into the center. Falls for Chicago in the end. The most open game we've had so far, the most even, at least according to the eye test, matchup we've had between these two teams. James Cheese trying to be the first to just break through, get the first cut on the G2 defense, but somehow it's kept up. Atomic has been doing that for years, and it's another great save at the near post.
It's exceptional by Atomic. I mean, the ball is inches away from the goal, but Atomic knows as long as he can keep it on that side of the post, James Cheese can't do anything. That's not a position you can really score from. G2, once again, happy to let James Cheese have the ball in their own back corner. They're just waiting for that chance to send it out into the middle and hit them on the counter. And there it is. There's the chance for G2 to do just that. Looks like Atomic ran out of boost and couldn't really chase it, but he's still up there. G2, half an opportunity. They're starting to read those outlet passes that James Cheese have been utilizing all series. James Cheese on the ropes. They're hanging on.
A top block on the backboard, though, from Realize. That was the moment that G2 were about to pounce, but it was just pulled away from them at the last second. That seems to be the case so far on this game, over and over. Realize he sends it backwards. JNaps is waiting. It was what he wanted, but he did not want that bump. So James Cheese can come forward. Atomic little nibble from his teammate to intercept the play that James Cheese was starting to build up. So he can get the ball and send it towards Virtuoso. There's Atomic in front of him. It's still very open between these two. Just a gaping match right now. Cammy, he's on the side. He just wants to get that extra touch. Can he get it past G2? Goes for the flip reset. Wants to get it over the top of Chicago. Just one pass away, time and time again.
Well, James Cheese are being given so much space by G2 in this match, in this game.
That's it.
Do they have the mechanical play? They don't need one. Realize there's an open net. James Cheese, for the first time, have a goal lead in the fall major.
A big moment right there for James Cheese. And it's the perfect time to score as well with 1 minute and 4 seconds remaining. The big question now, do they choose to defend? Do they try and double their lead? How do they play this one? It's realized there's a chance for an air dribble. These have devastated G2 in the past. Chicago's up for a quick pre-jump. Cammy waiting, Virtuoso waiting underneath it. So they've survived pitfall potential number 1, the kickoff. Can they make it through to the finish line?
Well, that double commitment that Cammy absolutely had to get that ball into a safe position, and he did. Just over 40 seconds left. James Cheese have got to keep all their players relevant in every play that they make. Recoveries have to be prioritized. G2 will really press them as this game comes to a conclusion. And a heavy hit from Atomic. Test James Cheese once again. They're expertly controlling the ball. Just surviving, but not long enough. JNAPS collects a downward 50-50. And a sigh of relief from G2. They've come back.
A sigh of relief, but they did have extra gears to work up to. As soon as they needed to, they just stepped up 1 or 2 to bring themselves back into this third game. 21 seconds remaining. It's still going to be tense till the end. Kickoffs have been good for James Cheese. That one's not quite what they wanted. A little bit more wayward than perhaps they've had in the past, but Cammy is able to take it away. JLabs has touched. It's a race between Realize and Atomic. To the right it goes this time. Chicago's pinch is good. That had to be right. Or else maybe James Cheese could have been in. Maybe they still could be. Virtuoso to the ceiling. JNAPS closes it down. Overtime is approaching. Cammy has Virtuoso in the center. Can he prod it towards him? Don't think it's going to happen. Vert does keep it up, though. A couple of chain dashes. Chicago and Atomic getting in each other's way. Realize if he wins this, we could be talking. Realize gets it back towards Cammy. It's blocked out. Realize still keeps it up. So does Virtuoso. And then via the ramp, it's sent down. Few deep breaths. Overtime.
James Cheese decide not to try and send the kickoff to their back corner. It goes to D2's back corner though, and they have got an uncontested shot to win and sweep James Cheese out of the tournament. G2 back on track.
Has to be said, the better team won in the end. James Cheese put up one hell of a fight, but G2 always had that little bit extra in their locker. When it was required of them, they had the professionalism, they had the experience.
Oh, look at that, they had the stock buff. Chicago took his shoes off. That's the difference.
Is that a thing?
Is this his shoes off?
Is this a Chicago invention, or was I not aware of this one?
Honestly, given how cold it's been in the venue the past couple of days, I'm surprised to see that. You must have some very good socks on him, but well done. G2 in a very high pressure situation for them. I mean, it's a high pressure situation for both teams, both facing elimination. But while James Cheese are staring across the other side of the room and seeing such phenomenal players, such a storied team, and knowing that they're really up against it, you know, G2, they're up against it as well. They've got so much to prove because everybody had such high hopes for them coming into this event, and they have not delivered. Now, finally, getting the job done. I think anything less than a sweep would not have been acceptable from their perspective, and they've got the sweep that they wanted.
G2 have successfully ascended the molehill, but now they still have the mountain to climb. 2 more series before they make it through to what I would say is par for G2, the quarterfinals, the top 8. Even then, if you'd have asked them before this tournament if they'd have taken quarterfinals, they would absolutely have said no.
You know, James Cheese, I think they can really take a lot from this. This was an absolute gauntlet they've been put through. They've had to play Carmine Corp, who are looking like the best team in the entire tournament. Maybe Oxygen would have something to say about that, but definitely top 2 in the entire tournament. They've had to go through Falcons, proven team. Now G2, another team everybody thinks is going to be top 8. You know, we're going to see James Cheese again, surely, and they can really build on this. They can keep improving throughout the season, and later on in the year, I think we are going to see a series win for them internationally.
Well, what will be different for G2 Esports going forward after their tough beginning? How are they playing so much better today? And most importantly, is Chicago wearing insulated socks? There is one man who can find us the answer to all those questions, and his name is Leaf.
I hope I can find the answer, because right now with me, JNAPS is coming on. Maybe we'll have the insight here. Cole wanted to know, because we saw some meta. Maybe this is the difference. Taking off the shoes, is that the difference?
I mean, I keep my shoes on. Are you talking about Chicago?
Yeah.
Him and Rizzo have been doing it for a while. They used to do it back in the old RLCS days, but me, I'm a more shoes on type guy, so I can't really speak on the no shoes meta.
That's fine. I want to talk because, like, I feel like we have a lot to talk about. It's 30 minutes, 30-minute interview here. Let's break down what's been going on. Obviously, it's been a rough go for G2, and I think the fans and analysts, we all want to know a little insight of what's been going on here.
I think our practice has been going really well, and when we come on stage, we kind of just lose everything we've been working on. And after the performances yesterday, we kind of changed our play style a bit and just talked how we really wanted to play. And I think right now we're playing with way more confidence and pace and just knowing we're better than every team instead of we were kind of playing slow and methodical before. So I think on LAN especially, you have to play with that confidence or else teams will just walk over you.
So, now that you're aware of what you have to do, how do you get onto stage and then make sure that confidence is there? Is it coach? Is it you guys talking to each other? What is it that makes sure that you have that confidence?
Honestly, a lot of it has to do with game one. If you come out game one swinging, get a couple goals and you're feeling good, then the rest of the series is kind of easy. But for us, especially against Power yesterday, we had a terrible game one and then it just fell apart after that. So I think just playing our style that we want to play right away when we get on stage.
And you feel like you did that this game here?
It was better than yesterday, but definitely not what we thought it could be. I think we wanted more goals, and we didn't get that many. So,
hey, you got another chance now. You guys are still going. I just want to know your thoughts on just we're harping so much on UNA, but it does feel like there is a bit of a divide right now, and you guys are unfortunately on the wrong side of that. SSG also just lost to Team Secret, so NA in general having a bit of a rough go. Do you feel like EU is really a bit of a step away that is going to be hard for North America to keep up with?
Maybe play style wise, I don't think the teams are that much more skilled than the NA teams, but I think Oxygen's play style, for example, was kind of what I was saying earlier. They're playing full confidence, just going for everything with pace, and I think EU teams match up better on LAN because that's what works on LAN. That's why I think EU's doing better. They're just faster in general, and NA teams online especially try to play super slow and methodical, and that doesn't work as well on LAN.
Hey, well, thank you for winning, so I'm not the only Canadian on camera anymore here, but congratulations, you guys get to keep going on. I know G2 fans are going to be happy, and we have a lot more matches.